Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be showing a DPS guide for symbols for damage dealers in Skyforge. Typically, the symbols for all damage dealers are pretty much the same, but what you want is maximum recoil and ultimate strength. These two symbols will give you the best bang for your buck because they stack up to 6 times currently, but in the Divine Atlas, you'll be able to get a lot more. I'm sorry, that is the upper Divine Atlas, so once you kill the avatar, and get the upper Divine Atlas, you'll in some places you'll be able to find more maximum recoil and ultimate strength. So those two are your best bang for your buck. You should always go for those first if possible. So make sure you do your anomalies and get the pink nodes to unlock these as soon as you can. Warrior's Greed is the other one that is very good as well. It's a flat 10% more damage with level 2 symbols. So it's 5% for each of the level, and so it adds up to 10%. Also, keep in mind that the incoming damage stays at a flat 5% only. Next symbols you will want is Pain Shock. If you're a kinetic, Pain Shock is pretty much an extra sledge in your sledgehammer rotation. Also, keep in mind that this video is just for PvE purposes and not PvP. For PvP, check out another guide of mine. Lucky Shot, it's pretty good considering it maxes out your critical strike at 50% every time you don't crit. So when you crit, every time you crit, it'll go back down to your whatever your current max crit is. Elements of Surprise is definitely needed for the very big burst at the beginning of each fight. So having 3 symbols give you 36% more damage. Rapid Attack is really good when you're trying to burst. What you want to do is use it, just dash once, and you get 12% from the 2 symbols. Ruthlessness is very good as well. You could get 3 of these symbols, that's 21% damage, and I'll explain why you need this in PvP, especially in God form. This is because 21%, and also with the monk symbol that I'm going to be getting probably next week or the week afterwards, will give you a 41% extra damage to anyone that's stunned. Now in God form, you're going to use your ultimate and your cryo ultimate as well if you have a cryo in your group. Thus, the boss will be counted as a stunned mob. So once it's stunned, you're getting 40% more damage, and your burst is going to be incredible during that fight. So during that burst rotation, you need to buff every single, throw every single buffs on you. You know, Lightbinder buff, an Alchemist buff as well. So Stims, Spray, Bow Trap, Floods of Light, you know, everything. Just, you know, Blessing of the Sun, and obviously I'll be Ultimate as well. And so that's just going to maximize your damage by a lot. Lacerated Wound, definitely needed. You're going to crit every time doing your sledge rotation, and it's going to boost your damage quite a bit. Compressive Trauma, you're going for, you know, max Crushing Blow, which is 22.5%. You're going to need this as well. Deep Dissection, that's for based on your Valor. If you have an Alchemist in your group running Valor, that's going to boost it up as well. So these 3, it's, you know, extra damage from Dot as well. Also, a key symbol would be Mark of Death. So if it procs, this is just a ton of damage, especially doing your Celeste rotation. You have 6 seconds, and you're just gonna punch the crap out of the mob, you know, the boss or whatever you're killing, and you're gonna do a ton of damage right after it procs. So if it doesn't proc, that's too bad, you know. But most of the time it procs. You know, you just gotta pray to RNG God that it procs. My other worlds unfortunately have 1 because I've been slacking on my invasion brackets, but you're supposed to have 3 right now, or actually 4, level 4 right now, considering, what is it, Gorgonites brackets, Mechanoids, and this current one, Reapers. So I guess 3, level 3, so that's 9% more. And then you're gonna have Fighter Knight, so that's, you know, 4, so that's 12%. So this is actually very, very good symbol to get, especially how Gimp Might is right now. So it's actually gonna boost up the efficiency of Might. You know, how much Might is gonna contribute to your overall DPS. Each of these symbols, it's typically 400 to 500, depending on your current base strength and luck at the moment. I'm sorry, Might at the moment. Base damage, so it's gonna, each symbol probably 400 more base damage, so it's very good to have. Obviously every class should have paladin symbol. Believe it or not, I've been yelling at one of my raiders. They're almost 150k, and they do not have the paladin symbol. And they're dying every single time. Why? Because in distortions, you get one shot without the paladin symbol. No matter what you have on, you'll get one shot. So I'm like, dude, you need to get this ASAP. He's like, oh, I'm pure DPS glass cannon. But I'm like, he's like, you know, freaking in other games you don't have paladin symbol. Why are you dying? I'm like, because you pretty much don't get one shot in another game. There's healers in another game, but in this game, you need the paladin symbol. Period. This is the best symbol at all. You know, at all costs. Get this, get this, get this. Next week I'll unlock 2 more slots. So next week I'm unlocking the witch, which is definitely needed. You know, since I was tanking, so I didn't prioritize it that much. I'm tanking mainly tanking and support, but witch is gonna be next for my next symbol. I'll unlock it next week. This is good as well if you in fights where you take minimum damage. This will proc a lot, so it's just 20% extra damage for you. Archer definitely needed. You do a lot more damage in your initial burst. So everything here, most of the time, it's just initial burst. You do so much damage at the beginning of the fight when it's 50% more. Slayer's not really needed. I could swap it out for another if I want, but crit doesn't really matter because you have lucky shot and everything else. And also during your assuming you're kinetic during that sledge phase, you're just going to be auto critting because of your sledge rotation. So for your Z, this is definitely needed every time you proc it, especially during your kinetic burst rotation. You're going to proc your impulse to activate that 10%, and also if you're kinetic, you should have that talent that adds another 36% in the kinetic one. This also is very, very good. Always proc is 15%. Also keep in mind that this indeed stack with the double stims from your alchemist, so you're actually going to see sometimes 3 of these on your guy as well. But yeah, it does stack with it. So that's yeah, so next week I'll be getting the witch symbol, very, very good, and also the gunner probably next. More than likely I'll get the monk one next, just because, like I said, during that god burst damage is so much damage compared to the other 2. This is decent because it's extra damage. Gunner is actually very, very good. Looking at back at the DPS meter, this is equivalent to actually lacerated wounds, so that's extra damage. Depending on where you do it, especially if you're kinetic. Once you're sledging, you should be staying in one place. So this is going to proc, and it's going to do a ton of damage, and that's adding more damage to your mark of death and everything else as well, and just increasing your damage overall. But yeah, pretty much if I have more slots, I would get impact as well. In most fights, there's going to be ads everywhere, and you're just going to help stunlock the ads for your tank so he doesn't take damage. And this is nice for kiting ads as well, stun locking them, just running away and stuff like that. But otherwise, that's pretty much the whole guide. Just if you subscribe, I'll more than likely come up with another version of the guide once I get more symbols, once I do more theory crafting and all that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.